What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new kind of episode of Source Wall. Same old shit, different way. With your boy Kojay and 44.
Yeah, we decided to do something revolutionary today. This time, we have done this thing called going live.
Yeah. Yep.
What is this StreamYard thing anyway?
This is StreamYard. This lets us make videos and little conversations and record it, stream it, and share
Let's go
screens,
with
multiple screens.
let's go with the duck.
The duck. I think that's their logo. It's not on ours. It's not showing on ours.
Yeah, I know it's their logo, but
Mm.
why is it a duck? Like, ducks are on streams.
Hey, yeah. Ducks live in the streams, don't they? Lakes, ponds? I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. Where do ducks live? I'm pretty sure they would have lived on some type of body of water and also close to some type of piece of land that they could get to just in case and get food or other things.
Now I feel like I need to watch it after this some Nat Geo of ducks or something.
About ducks, right?
Yeah, what's up with ducks?
People be eating ducks too.
I've eaten duck. It's not bad. Actually, a little tougher than turkey, but kind of close.
I think may have eaten duck too.
Mm-hmm.
But after a certain point, you eat so many different types of birds, it's like you just stop keeping track.
Yeah. Well, we know about snakes though.
But yeah, what is good with you though, man?
Man,
How
just
you
got off
feeling
of
about?
work. What's up? Sorry.
I said, how you feeling about life right now?
My life is cool. I'm just worried about Warner Brothers films with DC content. Because today, more of that Ray Fisher Hamada stuff.
Man, I'm down. I'm really down with DC for the WB. Really,
Yeah, I'm at breaking point, honestly.
I've been done with them.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, it's trash. Terrible, man. You're not making anything good. After the Snyder cut, it's definitely deuces.
Yeah. This is I don't see any point or end game with what they've been doing since they
But
left.
that could be their game plan now. That they might want to purge, the old fans that are holding on for the sake of, trying to bring in a wider demographic or a different type of demographic, or maybe reset the demographic. That's always a strong possibility too. You can always just reset the demographic by just repeating the same thing over again and just aiming for the same groups of people, just with a slightly different product. So at the end of the day, there's going to be people that are going to go out and watch these damn DC films regardless, man.
No, that's not me. Cause I've never been one of those people like, ooh, I love comic books. Ooh, I love film. Ooh, comic books, CBMs. Some people feel that expectation to have to see it all, go to it all, see every MCU film like clockwork. It's almost like work. Like you will buy a ticket, you will be. I've never been that. The movie has to sell me, and from the get go on its own merit, not because of if it's from like my favorite universe or whatever or characters. The movie's got to sell me on it. I loved Superman for a long time, and it took me forever to see Superman Returns. I think I saw that 4 years after it came out.
Well, you made a good choice.
Yeah, it's kind of better that way. Sometimes I just rather not see anything at all.
But yeah, as far as what they're doing now, it's like It's just the fact that everybody's just so in the dark about what's going on anyway. And I think everyone's just avoiding the obvious that they're clearly going for some type of, you know, forced, retcon reboot with the
Which I
Flash
thought was
film.
the lesson learned and mistake avoided, or was it avoided with Justice League?
Well, what it really is that they just wrote themselves into a corner, man. They know that they did. The only reason why other people, like peasants like the Among Us, believe that they didn't is because they just believe all the PR spin and all the bullshit that all these fucking comic jizz sites fucking spit to them all day. But in reality, if we're gonna look at it from a perspective, if we were actually there working on, even if we were actually there just working on one property, one film for DC films, how we look at it? You feel me? These motherfuckers wrote themselves into a corner with all this ruining continuity, moving away from things that they don't like because of ego and filmmaker beef and all this stuff. All these soft reboots. They even soft rebooted Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman was supposed to be allegedly their most successful film. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And but obviously that wasn't good enough because they said like, oh nah, what's in this first Wonder Woman film, we don't like that. We're gonna go do something totally different. You know what I'm saying? And they're doing the same thing with Suicide Squad right now, right in front of your face. You feel me? They're pretty much saying, oh yeah, we don't like, you feel me? I mean, the first Suicide Squad and what happened with that. We're just gonna get a Marvel director. We're gonna get Pedo Gun over here. You feel me? We're gonna make another Suicide Squad, step all over the first Suicide Squad by just calling this Suicide Squad. We're not even gonna give it a subtitle, a number two. We're not even gonna really do anything. We're just gonna pretend like this is just a restart, essentially. You know what I'm
Yeah, all
saying?
by dropping a
We're not
letter and dropping everything else.
we're not going to bring back any of the fan favorite characters really, except for Harley Quinn, because yeah, that was the only thing that people liked about the Suicide Squad movie when it came out. Nobody talked about Diablo. Nobody talked about Deadshot. Nobody talked about Katana. That's exactly what happened. Everybody was just like, "Wow, Harley Quinn is just so fucking awesome. Just make movies about her and just fuck everybody else."
Yeah,
Like that's not what happened. You feel me? That's what they chose to do. You know what I mean? They
yeah,
they
yeah.
they're doing all this stuff right in front of your face. Like at this point, it's like I don't know. That's clearly what their plan is. Their plan is that they know that as far as, you feel me, even the films that go to from Justice League and on, that they wrote themselves in the corner because Justice League was booty and it had its own continuity errors that didn't connect from with Man of Steel, BVS, or Wonder Woman, or even Suicide Squad. And then films like that, Aquaman, had their own issues that make it even worse and it moves farther away. And then films like Shazam have their own issues and it moves farther away. You feel me? Then you get to Wonder Woman, then you get the Birds of Prey. Haven't even hit Wonder Woman 84 yet. You get the Birds of Prey. That shit moves even farther away, has its own continuity issues and all that, and how it even connected to the so-called franchise or universe it comes from. Then we get to Wonder Woman 84, where shit is so far removed that you might as well just say that this takes place in literally a different universe. You might as well just say it takes place in the
Mm-hmm.
Linda Carter universe. It's so far removed from what's going on. You know what I mean? The continuity errors are off the wall. You feel me? Literally in the first Wonder Woman movie, she's a teenager, right? She's literally like I wouldn't say teenage, but she's like 12, 13. If she's 13 and she's a teenager, but around that age, you know, and remember the scene when she was getting trained and her mom caught her. And,
Yeah, yeah,
her
yeah.
mom came at her and her aunt and was like, "Oh yeah, you shouldn't be trained." Da, da, da. And then in the beginning of the second Wonder Woman, she's like fucking 6 years old and in the middle of a tournament in front of the whole fucking Amazon tribe. Like what is going on here? Like it's just blatant. It's just blatant. Was writing themselves into a corner, just doing dumbass shit after dumbass shit. They realized a minute ago, like, all right, we're not going to be able to fix this, and we don't really want to. So what we're going to do is, all y'all just do whatever you want. We're going to bring it up to Flash. We're going to fuck it up even more, and then try to fix it with the Flash movie. So we're going to tie in all the stuff that we want to keep, and just get rid of everything else. And most likely that stuff is probably going to be like the gun Suicide Squad, Shazam, things of that nature. You know, films like that. Like, you feel me? They'll probably keep Jason Momoa or something.
Yeah. It's kind of like it is its own. jacked up, kind of like was it the crime syndicate universe, where pretty much this world is being built by ripping the fruits of what they like from an already established wholesome world. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like they're kind of raping a lot of people's hard work. I hate using that word like as a whatever, but it's essentially, just taking what they want and effing everyone else up in the process and making something weaker, whacker, just to sell something else later down the line. Which is like
and the issue that
the
they're
most
facing right
weakest,
now
hardest,
too.
cheapest retcon.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's the Snyder cut is the real issue for them too, because it really begs the question of this is like, part of me even thinks that I don't think Snyder would allow it, of course, but they may even try to, even retcon the Snyderverse in the Flash film by, referencing things that happened in the Snyder cut, because that's what the real issue is. The real issue is that here you have these set of films, and if the Snyder cut wasn't in play, then it'd be like, all right, boom, you could just kind of retcon it from the Flash, erase everything from Justice League or whatever, however you want to do it. But the problem is the fact that, like the Doc said on Back to the Future, the Snyder cut coming in kind of creates another alternate path. So even if they erase everything up to a certain point, you feel me? Once it hits that Snyder cut point, it veers off, and then it becomes the question. It's like, all right, they erase everything that happened in, let's say Justice League, you know, Shazam, whatever, Suicide Squad, things of that nature. But when you really think about it, did it really touch the original universe though? Because based on what things are happening over here, it was Man of Steel, BVS, and then with the Snyder cut, the shit came. None of the stuff that they're talking about even happened. Like, you feel what I mean? It didn't end the same way or anything. So, and there's really no reference unless they make a reference to this specific timeline. They can't necessarily erase it. You feel me? And it causes a problem because those films are the foundation of this whole thing. If you're gonna say like, oh, we're about to reboot all this stuff, in reality, the Snyder cut is blocking them from technically retconning films like BVS, Wonder Woman, Man of Steel. It just is. You feel me? If Justice League was just there, then that wouldn't be an issue. But the Snyder cut is that wall that is like blocking them from even being able to, in a way that makes sense, wipe all this stuff away and actually have people accept it and believe like, all right, all that stuff over there is done for. Like, I saw this film and some cataclysmic flash event happened and everything was erased, whatever. But if the Snyder cut ends in a way that doesn't lead up to where that universe went, then and even if you think about it like this, with the Flash crossover on CW, they even brought up that same issue themselves. They had a whole crossover where they're talking about like, oh man, all the universes are about to be erased and there's only a certain amount left. And then at the end, they knew exactly how many universes were left, supposedly. And then all of a sudden, Ezra Miller pops up out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And then Flash is like, oh my God, you're not supposed to exist. I didn't think there's not supposed to be any more universes and stuff. And it's like, they just proved my point right there.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much they prove, no matter how many times they say there's only this many universes, this is what we know, everything else doesn't exist, there's always going to be a side universe that doesn't connect to all those other universes. There just always is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've even said it in their own fucking media, in their own shows, in their own canon. So it's going to be the same issue when it comes down to the Snyder cut coming out. And then they're going to be like, all right, so where's the timeline going? Are we following the Snyder cut timeline, or are we following the Justice League timeline? If they're talking about retconning and bringing together anything, is the Justice League timeline, because that's the timeline that is shot to shit, that has all the continuity errors. If we go based off the Snyder films, everything is perfect for the most part. They all follow each other back to back. The Wonder Woman film, if you want to put in there, it fits in there well. Even Suicide Squad. And again, I guarantee you when the Ayer cut comes out, it's going to fit in there even better. So the only films that they can really be trying to aim to retconning and bringing together are films like Birds of Prey, Shazam, Wonder Woman 84, Black Adam, things of that. They're trying to bring all these films together in a neat universe because they know they didn't get a good start building it up at all. You feel me? Like you said, they were trying to build this universe off picking off the stuff that Snyder was doing. You feel me? In his films. And it wasn't working. All they were doing was just ruining continuity. And it wasn't making no sense. And now even people are saying man, it don't even matter to see these DC films anymore because they don't even act like it matters. The shit don't connect. The stories don't matter. You know, continuities everywhere. Nobody even knows where any of these films stand. You might as well just go watch the cartoons, to be honest. The cartoons move the same way, and they got way better continuity, and they do the same shit. If you just want to watch stuff like that, just buy a bunch of box sets of Batman animated series, Superman animated series, all that stuff, and just watch episodes randomly. You can watch stuff, different canons and stuff too. Buy the Batman, the old Batman cartoon show. You can buy the Green Lantern show and all that, and just watch all them episodes randomly. It doesn't even matter how it connects. Some of them are going to connect because some of them are in the same universe, but does it really matter? They're just cartoons, man. You know what I mean? You really just want to see Green Lantern shoot his ring, right? And you want to see Batman fucking swing off a building, right? Like, you know what I mean? They're literally coming with the same logic on the screen. That's why nobody cares. People watch cartoons with the same type of, mental capacity. People don't really be trying to watch cartoons like, all right, but I gotta watch this shit from the beginning and know exactly where it's at. People will watch it from like the third to last episode and not even, it's Batman. Shit, the season 7, I don't care. It's still Batman. You know what I mean? They're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna care that much. Like, oh no, I gotta watch the whole animated series from the beginning to know what's going on. Like once you let people know that you're giving off this type of energy, how you're trying to give the product off, like it doesn't really matter that much where you start off or if anything connects or the story arc don't even really matter, then it doesn't matter where you hop in. It doesn't matter even if you go to watch it from the beginning or enjoy it or know where. That's why a lot of people don't even. Funny thing about a lot of people don't even know Man of Steel pops off in DCEU because they don't even push it like that. Imagine that. They don't be promoting out there like, oh yeah, check out Man of Steel. You feel me? The beginning of the DCEU. You feel me? The film that started it all. Making sure everybody knows, like, if you're going into this is where you need to start. The fans do that. You think about Marvel, they will not shut the fuck up about Iron Man. They won't shut up about Iron Man, watching Iron Man, or Iron Man. They're going to smack you in the face with the first Iron Man DVD. They let you know that if you want to get into the first film you need to watch is Iron Man. Like, it is what it is.
They have the blueprint. They even have a box set of all the films coming out. I don't know if it's official yet, but yeah. They
WB tell you like, oh man, it don't even matter, man. Just hop in, start wherever you want, man. You can just watch that last episode. It don't even matter. And they kind of think about it. They kind of did the same thing with the DC animated movies and all that. There was so little continuity within all them films. It was just based on the fact, like, all right, it's still kind of in the same universe, and they kind of reference things that happened in past films slightly, but they took so many crazy time jumps. Like even think about when they did they did what? Apocalypse War, what was it called? The film before that was
you're talking about the
animated universe that
films.
They just ended.
Yeah.
The film before that was Reign of the Superman. So they went from Death of Superman, and the Reign of the Superman, and I watched that movie recently. Nowhere at the end of Reign of the Superman does it really allude to like everything is about to end after this. You know what I mean? It's just like, all right, it's Reign of the Superman. Superman's back. They're probably about to do more Justice League stuff and blah, blah, blah. It's like, nope, after that, it's like a complete time jump. And all of a sudden, Superman and the Justice League are super mad at Darkseid. You're like, you know what? We're tired of this bullshit. This dude Darkseid keeps coming over here and fucking with us, trying to kill us. We're about to go over there and fuck him up. And everyone's like, yeah. And Flash is like, I don't think this is a good idea. And then Superman's like, shut up, Flash. And then everybody just flies over there and gets murdered. And it's like, what? Where did we get? How did we get here? I don't even want to talk about the rest of the movie because the point is how did we get here? How did we even get to this point? Before where we left off, it was Reign of the Superman and everything was cool. Superman's back. Now the whole Justice League is bloodthirsty, and they're willing to fly all the way to Apocalypse with a booty ass plan just because their mad dark side keeps kicking dirt in their eye.
It's so
like, come
immature. I thought these were adult heroes.
It's just, it's a cartoon. That's why they're doing. They're just throwing it at you like, all right, here, man, we about to end it, man. This universe, it's all right, but in reality, we don't even really want to do it anymore. You don't like it. We don't really like it. So here's the last one. We're starting a new one. And now what are they doing? They're making new animated movies that are nothing like the ones that came before. They erased that shit.
No, they look very simplified.
Yeah, they just skip to the end. Let's be honest. They just skip to the end. And they didn't even have to. They didn't even, and they're doing the same thing with the movies. They're doing the same thing. You don't have to, it don't matter where you hop in with the animated DCU. It doesn't matter because there's barely any continuing. And even when you get even to the middle, they're just going to skip to the end anyway, kill off everybody and erase everything. It don't matter. You feel me? Like, and it's the same thing with the movies now. You can hop in and watch Birds of Prey, go watch Wonder Woman 84, fucking watch Shazam, but none of this shit don't matter because they're about to bring in the Flash and erase all this garbage. You feel me? And do the same thing over again. And I hate to be such a negative person about it, but like I said, the writing's on the wall. At this point, we're just lying to ourselves, and we're not going to accept what they're doing with it. They've been doing this shit for a minute now.
This is true. I even remember when they were like promoting it, just to double back on what you're saying about them acting like Man of Steel doesn't exist. I remember when they were promoting the DCU app or something, it was around that time. They were showing like Jason Momoa Aquaman, Gal Gadot Wonder Woman, Christopher Reeve Superman, and Tim Burton's Batman, Michael Keaton. And that was like, hey, these are the heroes. I was like, what? And that really fits into that thing because it feels like they screwed it up on purpose or whatever, and they do want to skip to the end, but they want to keep all the good stuff because it actually worked in their eyes, their cross-eyed eyes, and they just wanted to have their cake and eat it too, and burn the cake and make a new one all at the same time. It's like it's apparent they're making shortcuts.
Yeah, and they're doing spiteful stuff just to do it.
Yes,
like even the fact that there's such big talk of, like, perfect example of Michael Keaton replacing Ben Affleck in any universe. Like, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Because the obvious thing would be if you're gonna bring Michael Keaton to the Flashpoint movie and introduce him, what you should do is at that point build off Batman Beyond in the Burtonverse.
Oh,
because technically. Perfect. The Batman animated series is based off the Burtonverse. Like, are these people stupid? Why would you take Michael Keaton Batman and put him in the DCEU when his whole universe is sitting right here and the animated series is based off his universe?
Yeah, because
like, Batman Beyond is based off his universe.
Yeah, so Batman animated series kicked off on Batman Returns.
Like, they're really
designed off of that. That's a key from that Tim Burton thing. So to go back to that is perfect, bro.
They're confusing it for no reason. They just want to erase stuff and do all this dumb shit just to do it. Like, Ben Affleck Batman don't need to go anywhere. Robert Pattinson Batman can stay right where he's at. Michael Keaton Batman can hop between universes and stay right where he's at. He has his own universe. They can do Batman Beyond. Whatever, it doesn't have to ruin anything. The fact that the people are even talking that it has to ruin anything just goes to show you that they want to fold things over and get rid of shit. That's really all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it ever even comes down to a fact where, even if they want to, even Michael Keaton being talked out of being a Nick Fury type of character is so dumb. Because it's like you have a whole OG Batman universe sitting there. You imagine if they did a movie about a cyberpunk Burtonverse Batman movie, Batman Beyond. How Gotham looks in the future. That cool. Sells itself right there. Like, why does that have to be in the main universe?
That can compete with Tron 3 perfectly.
Exactly. With it being in the Burtonverse, it's in its own corner, can do its own thing. The DCU, whatever you fucking want to call it, can continue to move forward. You got the other side films, the darker films like the Batman and whatever. They continue to do the Black Label, but that's not what they're saying though. They're saying, oh, we're about all this great spinoff ideas. We're gonna toss them on HBO Max. Like, oh man, there's only gonna be 2 Batman. You know what I mean? And they're gonna be going side by side. Now everybody's confused because you're talking 3 Batmans, but you're saying there's only going to be 2 Batman like ongoing after this. So which are the 2 Batmans going to be?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And then that's getting the Snyder fans mad already because they're like, all right, so y'all low-key trying to say you're about to get rid of Ben Affleck, because if you do, you might as well not even continue the universe. Like, facts. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, and that's why I say it's like, they're about to retcon this shit, man. There's no point of even trying to like make sense of it. They're just trying to, it's the distraction. They're just trying to confuse you like DC always does. They did the same thing with New 52. They're just going to confuse you like DC always does until they erase all the stories. And then there's going to be like, you know what, man, you're going to love the new stories we give you, bro. Don't worry. Like, come on, man.
It's
I don't mean to, put you in a bad mood or nothing.
no.
Like,
this mood is constant because Hamada's in office, so it's just like I feel it because I talk to coworkers, people coming in. I talk to a lot of patients. Sometimes they bring up movies on their own, while we're going through the test, and it's cool. And I hear from people who are not in deep as we are, and they are freaking like confused as fuck. And without even telling them, just seeing the film's face value, they have no fucking idea what's going on with DC, the films. You know what I mean? Like, you're even confusing the average person and stressing them out.
The general audience is lost when it comes to DC now, because the thing is
that's
that the thing that DC should have used to their advantage was the fact that Marvel was teaching the audience to keep track of long form storytelling in theaters. But instead of just taking advantage of that, even though the audiences have been watching, franchises that go up to like 5 films, maybe 6 films up, like like not Final Fantasy, Fast and Furious is about to be on this 9th film. So at the same time, it really comes down to this old school mentality that WB has, that they don't trust the audience. They think everybody's stupid. They almost had it, but then once they got scared, they realized like, oh man, all this connected stuff ain't working. It's too hard. We got too many of these bougie fucking filmmakers that don't want to work together, and that part is true. You feel what I mean? So what we're going to do is we're just going to let them do whatever they want and just throw stuff at the wall, and that was the dumbest thing they ever could have did, because they should have been going for the long game at the end of the day. You feel me? It's like, and like a lot of people said in the past, like the early DCEU films are made way more money than the early Marvel films. So imagine if they would have stuck the path. Instead, we can technically say we almost got through one phase because they fucked up Justice League. We're about to finish the first phase. You feel me? But after that, the second phase was a bunch of nonsense. They wasted the whole second. If we're gonna go based on some Marvel logic, they wasted the whole second phase. They came out with Birds of Prey. I'll give Aquaman a pass only because it stands on its own of just being some fun in the sun movie. You feel what I mean? It doesn't step on too many things to succeed. You feel me? That was the only film. But Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84. What is this? Like, what is this?
Oh no, man! This is us being nerfed. That's what it is.
I'm about to check the comments too, because I almost forgot that they're here.
Hey, yeah. Forgive us. This is our first time. So. No, in pro wrestling terms, this is like you get all the talent in NXT and they move up to the big leagues, WWE, and they're nerfed as fuck. They're stupid, dumbed down, watered down, powered down even, and they just dwindle away until the whole corporate is
What's good, Gary? What's good, Mike? I don't know if he's still there, but yeah, what's up, guys?
Yes, welcome and thank you for being here, guys. Appreciate it.
Mike says no one is ever going to truly. Wait, hold up.
What? Sorry.
Mike said no one is ever going to truly take this franchise seriously. This is what we never wanted. I think that's what he meant. Like films based on comic mythology.
Yo! I'll put it back on the screen.
That took itself seriously. Yeah, I can't see the screen, so WB is assuring that will never happen. Yeah, he's
I'll
right.
Read it. Millennial Mike goes, no one. Wait. What? Where'd you go? Okay. First time. Oh, there you go. No one is ever going to truly take this franchise seriously. That is what we ever wanted. Films based on comic mythology that took itself sincerely. WB is assuring that will never happen. Pretty much, man. Oh, always ever.
Yeah, my bad. Dropped out real quick, but
No, it's
no,
cool. It's cool.
Mike makes a strong point there that they are at this point they are ensuring that it'll never happen because I don't like the whole boys club term, and people like, oh, it's the old guard, it's the boys club, and unfortunately some like those terms are kind of right. It's these dudes that are around, male and female. They got these old, mentalities of not only how they be running, things at WB, but even around at DC. Like,
The boys club rules.
And even when it comes down to
Ugh.
even just down to the comic level, we have to admit, DC's can be very gimmicky and very, very, snobby to a certain extent when it comes to their ideas. Like, even when it comes to like the Three Jokers thing that just came out, like they really tried to push that like it was the bee's knees or something. And a lot of people say like, all right, man, it's just all right. And like they'll shove it down your throat. And even like I said with the gimmick stuff, it's like the Batman who laughs and the DC metal and all that stuff. They'll do all this weirdo gimmick stuff in the comics, but then when it comes to like, even when it comes to like the television or even film, like, like you got to break half the company's legs to even get an outside of the box Superman film made. You feel what I mean? Like, like someone like me, people low key losing their jobs and everything over it. It's like why is it such a big deal? And it's really because they don't really care about these properties. They don't really feel the need to have to put all this effort into it, especially it's like, boom, I don't want to like talk down on the first Christopher Reeve films, but because it should always be held up and lauded. But the fact that they even still hold that film up, like, oh yeah, all CBM films should be going back and based off like this, and it's like, cut it out, man. Really cut it out, because that's not true. If that's the case, you feel me, then every CBM would be low budget and wonky, and less DG. You feel me? Like, people want to say that, but they also forget that era of CBMs had this time and this failed. When it ultimately failed with Batman and Robin. And that put a nail in the coffin for CBMs for a while. The
It
thing
did, big
that
time.
the lifeblood of CBMs today is really Blade, and people try to gas on that. It's really Blade, and it was really built upon by films like X-Men. You feel what I mean? And Spider-Man back in the day. You feel me? Like, to be told, and
Spider-Man did a really good job coming back, bringing
even
that
films like
hope.
Constantine and all them. People try to play out a lot of them late 90s and even early 2000 high concept films and CBNs, but those
V
are
for
the
Vendetta.
films. Yeah, those are the films that are really the basis of comic books and movies today.
Hell yeah.
Like the fact that they're even trying to go back and like say like, oh yeah, nah, this is the way over here, when we all know how that era ended. It's just like,
Oh man. Ugh. Real quick. I'm gonna be a good host here. We got Shri gives love, says Kojay and Parademon 44, peace sign and waves. What's up, man? And we got ZodWriter in the house. Pow pow!
oh, what's good, Zod?
Yay, love you, Zod, man. We could send you an invite. And I want to go back a bit. My boy
You're a
Gary
monster,
drops a
Zod,
good.
and I'm gonna stop you.
All right, Gary drops a good point here. Imagine if they hyped the DCEU rather than spend the last decade ashamed or trying to hide it all the time. Just imagine if they just hyped it, because they're hyping whack shit. Why not hack good? Like, hype the good shit. Like, just keep the hype going. Like, no shame. Disney does that all the time. Like, where everyone's saying, "Hey, Mulan
Honestly, what WB should have done,
that didn't stop
in my opinion, they should have took a Transformers approach to the DCEU. That's really what they should have did. And I'm not saying in how they made the films, but how they handled the reaction.
Right.
They should have just accepted that these films are these films, and they're not going to get, lauding praise and all that. Take the money and re-up, bro. Re-up and come back with the next one. You feel what I mean? But they got gassed up by the Nolan films, and people got to accept that too. That's why I'm still to this day, I'm not really off, you feel me, the Nolan films and the ultra realistic Batman and everything that strips down all the comic elements, because they got gassed up by the fact that they were able to get the money and the praise. And they you got to realize that even with a lot of these projects, you're not always gonna get that. It just is what it is. People saw how long the Resident Evil franchise ran, and people hated that shit after a while, but they kept making it because those were cool date movies. People kept going to see them back in the day. And they made a whole bunch of them for that reason. And I guarantee you, that's why you don't be hearing people talk down on the movies like that, because they know low key they watched them shits 100 times. They're part of the reason why they kept making those movies. And that's not to compare in quality to the DCEU, to and from the early days to now too. These franchises, I'm talking about now, and both RE and Transformers, I thought both had good starts. But we can even compare it to, like I said, Fast and Furious. You feel me? I'm sorry, I keep saying Final Fantasy. I just beat that shit.
It's double F. You know what I mean?
It's the double F, exactly.
It's double F, man.
But it's the same thing. Like Vin Diesel, he told the studio long ago, these movies are not gonna be. They're not going to be praised by the critics or none of that. But trust me, the asses are going to be in them seats when this shit drops.
But I like they're owning it, and then they embellish it. Because I remember Resident Evil, they thought the third one was the last, but since they kept going, fourth to the sixth, they're like, all right, we're going to have fun with it. And it got a little bit better. It's still the same thing. You know what to expect, but there's no change. There's confidence.
Zod said he'll hop in. I think Zod and Mike said they'll hop in if you want to send them the link.
One at a time. Here we go.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, ZodWriter.
Oh, it's so great to be here on Source Wall, man. You guys really bring it. I gotta give you guys props.
Oh, thanks, man. We appreciate it for sure.
You've always given us a lot of love and support. We appreciate you.
Man, I love it. I love it when you guys come out with a new episode and then you just straight spit fire. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we don't care about.
We got to come with that player hitter energy every time.
yeah, for real, great stuff.
But yeah, how you been, Zod? What you been fucking with?
Man, I've been hanging in there, man. I've been just waiting for the for the country to kind of get on a normal trajectory and wishing that Warner Brothers would get their stuff together. But you know what?
Yeah. The thing about that is you really can't wait for normalcy. You just gotta wait for the desensitization to kick in.
right. Because really there is no normalcy. That's a great point. There really is no normalcy when it comes to any of this. It's just a Matrix-like environment. Some of the stuff that happens, my God, man, it makes me feel like we got to be living in the Matrix sometimes.
In the future, shit's going to be burning. There's going to be Android warriors, and we're going to be standing around this is normal.
And here I am sitting here.
I'm just wondering if we're gonna be. I'm just wondering if we're all gonna be alive long enough to see Android warriors, man. Because geez.
Well, they're already around now, but they're mostly in the military. That's the whole thing.
Oh,
they got androids and genetically modified soldiers and all that already. That's the crazy thing about it.
Jax from Mortal Kombat, he actually exists in the military now with his robotic arms and everything.
You know what's the crazy thing about society is that they say life imitates art and art imitates life, but You know, people be copying art. I'm trying to tell you, man.
Yeah.
Best believe there is a Jax dude running around in one of these militaries, man. Like,
yeah, I mean,
because and the reason why I know this is because militaries in other countries complain about it. They be sending reports to the UN saying like, yo, these dudes are sending super soldiers and everything over here. They're sending dudes that are low-key genetically modified and got super strength and, you know, super high awareness and everything. Like, that's low-key cheating, bro. Y'all are cheating. Like, y'all sending androids over here to like attack us and everything. Like, I'm trying to. That's why you ever wonder why weather manipulation is illegal? Because they have technology that can manipulate the weather. That's why. So, and then they be telling the UN like, yo, this country over here, they're low key manipulating the weather and trying to cap it up. You better tell them to stop before we go to war with them.
That's like, actually a huge thing.
We just don't hear about it.
Now you guys remember that pilot episode of Justice League of America where the weatherman came in and manipulated everything? You remember the villain was the weatherman.
The villain was the weatherman.
Going, who? Let's develop that. I like it. Look at how the catastrophe we can control.
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't put it past Warner Brothers to somehow go with that idea again.
No, they're too cheap for that. They
seem to allow history to repeat itself over and over again with their mistakes. So, you know, it's
yeah, because unfortunately, like these studios, they have their cultures about them, and they teach this in, you know, their WB classes. Like, this is how we come. This is how we move at WB.
Yeah, you got to be as despicable and as stupid as possible. Even if we start hemorrhaging money, it's okay because it's all about the personal principles and the egos of the men at the top.
They be like, whenever some PR nightmare hits the fan, they be like, damn, what did we do in the 90s? Do that.
Exactly.
What did we do to solve this problem back then? Do the same thing today.
We're gonna cut Ray Fisher out of the Flash. That's okay. We'll bring back George Clooney and the guy that played Robin O'Donnell. We'll bring them back.
Yeah,
no problem.
I hope they would do that too, man. And that's the whole thing with WB. They think they're gonna just ride off this based off, you know, comic book hype, and you know it could work because, you know, a lot of these dudes, they do love Flash out here, especially these white boys and shit. They fucking love Flash, so they might flash their ass over to the theaters to go see this. But at the same time, they can't be coming on some like, oh, we're doing this for the fans and we're bringing back Affleck and we're bringing back Keaton and all these legendary characters that we're taking out Cyborg out. You're souring the whole shit. You're souring it already.
It's like the same retcon is still there.
And now you're just letting people know it's just for the money.
Let's just retcon everything. Make it about the money. I mean, I honestly feel like the next Batman movie should be just called Batman. Let's print money. That's what it should be called because that's all it's about.
Batman, beware the bank.
It's not even smart money, bro.
It's not really. It's cash grab money. That's what I think, man.
Yeah, because if they're thinking like a horror movie commercial sense, I don't want to downplay a horror movie. It's like, all right, we're going to make a crazy movie, save some bucks, but we know the genre itself will sell itself. We don't even have to try.
Yep.
Yeah, if they were to bring back George Clooney too, and they taking out Ray Fisher and everything, that's how you know this is a joke.
I could see it. I could see an Arnold Schwarzenegger cameo too, and I mean they could just. It's
not even about that. It's just about that George Clooney look. He looks at this shit like a joke. He doesn't take this stuff serious. So if they're bringing him back, that's how you know like they're not taking it seriously.
It won't be. It won't. My thing is it won't be serious, and I'm one of those people that kind of gave up on Warner Brothers a long time ago. And really wasn't falling for any of their shenanigans, particularly with the way they were handling things. And even this, it's like we got our, we all have our, Snyder cut foggy glasses on right now because we're all excited for that movie. But they're doing some shady stuff. and it's ultimately, it makes you wonder. It's like, well, how much of this scam are we going to have to put up with? When does the scamming stop, and when does Warner Brothers start caring about their customers? And then I have to sit here and realize, well, wait a minute. Remember, it's Warner Brothers. They'll never care about their.
It's never going to stop.
It's never going to change.
WB is for we botch.
It's like let's
It's the wheel of time, my man. It's the wheel of time.
Yeah, let's take all the hype. Let's take all the hype out of the Snyder Cut. Let's deflate the hell out of that by telling people you're not going to get any more of Ray Fisher's Cyborg. We're taking him out of everything because guess what? You want him and you want him to succeed. Anything that's the Snyderverse, we're going to try to continue to bury it, and we don't care one way or the other. We're siding with Hamada on all this. So to me,
and on top of that, we're siding with garbage Jeff Johns too.
Right. We're going to keep Jeff Johns. We're going to keep him doing his whackness. Yes,
and he likes him.
Yes, Sir Whackness. That's what we're dealing with here. It's ridiculous.
For real though, like I have never seen a studio stick to a motherfucker that has written so many garbage movies back to back.
So many garbage movies, and like what?
At this point, I have to think. I'm actually thinking to myself, I may have to be blind or some shit. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe these shits really are fucking good.
Dude, guys, the dude was whacking himself off over his sequel to Watchmen. I mean, who thinks that they're good enough to actually write a sequel to Watchmen in terms of the comic book itself, the actual story? I mean, come on, really? He thought that he was that guy, and he wrote some strange garbage that he had no business writing, and that's why it took him. And not only that, it took him forever to write it because he didn't know what the heck he was doing. Jeff Johns is a complete loser. I'm sorry. It makes no sense, to be defending people like him, and then you have people like, Walter Hamada. It's like, what did they do? What did they do? They all got together and went out and bonded together and had a big orgy or something, and then came back and said we're gonna defend each other for life. And then they took a blood oath, and now that's I mean, I'm trying to figure out what the draw is for all these whack people being allowed to run the table at Warner Brothers or Warner Media or whatever it is nowadays.
I got a bad feeling they're like low-key bought out by someone. Because for them to just be cushiony and do whatever they want. Because one major annoying weird thing when I started fighting in this movement for the Snyder Cut, I would get messages from no-name people, definitely burner accounts, but their argument of why I should stop promoting the film and all this was that the investors have the final say. And their argument was always that the investors make 27% of the film, and we have to please them, and it's whatever they want. I was a no-name. I had 13 followers on YouTube, barely a Twitter account active. And these people come and tell me to shut the fuck up with that reasoning and rationale.
Well, the people that are against the Snyder Cut don't even know why they're against it. They just know that they hate, they hate Zack Snyder because they didn't like that Henry Cavill didn't have the underwear on the outside in Man of Steel. So it becomes just an issue of personal gatekeeping and people that can't move past 1978. It's going to be 1978 for these people for as long as they live. And that's the problem.
I'm about to take some shots here, but a lot of these people that feel this way really don't even give a fuck about Superman. They're over in the corner somewhere sucking off Luke Skywalker. Let me be G.
Well, just like Superman in their place.
A lot of
here's the thing.
Superman and his Trump's opinion don't even care about Superman. They pray to fucking Star Wars. And they come over here to us, our modern DC fans, and fucking give us shit and tell us that Superman needs to be wearing trunks and Batman don't kill and he's hella honorable and shit. Like, get out of here.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I want to know. You know, it's like I sit here and I say that to myself all the time. I'm like, I want to know what the hell comic books y'all been reading, because the comic books that I was reading for years, you know, Batman does kill from time to time. Superman's killed multiple times too. I'm like, you guys, it's like I guess it depends on the books you're reading. Because for me, it's like I've always looked at,
it depends on the book, the era.
Yeah, it depends on the era. I mean, it's like, and that's where these people lose in that argument, because they don't have a clue, you know, that there's other eras for Superman, Batman, all the heroes. I'm sorry, but I hate to tell you this, but all your comic book characters that you all love have killed at some point in some comic book era. It's just the way that it is.
Dude, that's so right. Because I remember when I was fighting with some of these people back in the day, I just gave up. But I would bring up certain comic books because they're all like, "Ooh, we all read the comics and not this." And I would bring up, okay, Godfall, For Tomorrow, blah 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 blah, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, those comics don't count because they suck." I was like,
right, they don't count. They don't count because you don't like them. They don't count because you don't like them. Just like the Snyder movies don't count because you don't like Zack Snyder, because Zack Snyder tries to challenge you and give you some intelligence in your movies, and you don't want intelligence in your movies. You just want to be able to turn your brain off and watch a bunch of people in costumes fight on screen. Yeah. That's all you care about. It's ridiculous.
And he does that.
The sad thing about it that people just let themselves get led astray by this type of mentality too easily too. Yeah, that's really what it is.
Yeah,
they don't stand up for these films at all whatsoever. They just go off. You feel what I mean? Like, perfect example is this. Boom. Everybody was shitting on the Snyder films and the early DCU films, right, and everything, and the fans that were actually keeping track of, you know, what was going on, that were trying to put other fans up on game on what the issue was, they just shitted on those fans, pretty much fans like us, and they continued to shit on the Zack Snyder film and everything. And we warned them. Like, yo, you guys do not understand what you're doing. You feel me? You guys are screaming about all this SJW shit, all this bullshit and everything, and then you're trying to bring all this energy over to Zack Snyder just because you don't like his films, and he's not even doing any of that stuff. You know what I mean? And you're about to take this man out of power, and then you're about to bring in other forces that you don't even know about. You feel me? And when everybody shitted on Zack Snyder and he left, they're like, "Oh yeah, DC saved. That was going to be so much better now." Ever since then, we begin even worse films.
Speaking about Justice
League. We got films like Aquaman that nobody likes. We got films like Wonder Woman 84.
The internal fighting, especially from the TV and movie side, you know, against the movie side, is also crazy too. Like,
welcome, Mike, by the way. We're crazy.
That was good, Mike.
What's up, Mike?
Good. Great to talk to you guys. It's so good to hear from you again. But you were guys talking about earlier different people that keep on keeping on their team again after failure. You know, despite all else, for some reason, you know, talk about the TV, like Berlanti. You know, like Berlanti, like as if no one else could do his job. I mean,
I have to go.
Dude, just get J. Michael Straczynski for one. He could kill it. I'm telling you. Straczynski and let
Straczynski take over Titans.
Berlanti, man.
That'd be good.
Are we actually about to have this conversation right now? About
we are, man. There hasn't been any more hate than there has been from the TV wing of Warner Brothers DC than from any other, you know, like, I guess, professional, like, you know, you have your bloggers and your journalists and whatever, but like from other creators, you know, in the industry, more hates come from the TV wing of DC toward the Snyderverse and the DCEU than any other place I can possibly think of. You know, the writers' room, like Twitter, and this is the most pathetic, you know, the most pathetic creative decision I've ever seen. But all the DC TV shows have writers' room Twitter accounts that actually interact with their fans and integrate the discussions that they have on Twitter back into the TV shows. I can't believe it. Wow. You know, and yeah. So, like, you know, Supergirl, they have one called Supergirl Writers Room. Arrow writers room, Flash writers room, Legend of Tomorrow's writers room. What is the black dude? Black Lightning writers room. I mean, every show has a writers room, and you'll hear this big, they shouldn't have done this. Elicity should have happened. Blah blah blah. They should have gotten together, and then all of a sudden, next season.
Yep.
It's crazy. And a lot of these people aren't even fans that are whining on Twitter. They're just people who latched onto the show because they like the way these characters look together.
They're Raylo type people.
Yeah.
It's like it's the people that they have nothing going on and they just enjoy the art of complaining. That's really all it is. It's like it's ridiculous.
Complaining.
Yeah, there's an art to it, that's all they want to do, and they're not happy unless they're moaning and complaining about
feel like
something.
They're being catered to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of people's voices are getting lost in the chaos of it because there are people like me that genuinely just want these fucking movies to be just good. Like if these just start being good, I will shut up. You feel what I mean? Did y'all ever hear? Did y'all ever hear about me during the Snyder era, any of that shit? No. You know why? Because I was chilling, watching my DC movies, watching my DC everything else, living my life. If they would just make some good movies, I would just give them the pass. But it's like
if they would just make some good movies. Let's take this one step further. If they would make some good movies, we would all leave social media because we would really care. Be like, everything's cool.
Honestly, this is the thing that I think that people aren't talking about.
But my point is that there's people that are going to continue to stay on and just talk shit and just hate on everything regardless of what the outcome is.
This thing we're not talking about enough. I think that what we're not talking about enough is the fact that money doesn't actually talk as much as we would like to believe it is. And there's some sort of deeply ingrained idea that the only thing that these companies will do is based on monetary gain, money. But it's been proven again and again that their ego will override that some kind of narrative or decision or bloggers or a loud enough complaining. They have a Twitter algorithm that they have now. All these other factors can influence the content that we get even more. It doesn't matter if Suicide Squad did well. It doesn't matter if Wonder Woman did well. It doesn't matter if anything did well. There's always some kind of narrative that you can use to spin to say that they were happy with the result. They weren't happy. There was some kind of fluke with the profits. They sold the rights or the licensing to someone else, so they didn't have the So there's some reason why isn't the fact that Joker did well making this big old huge Jokerverse with all these R-rated movies that are coming out every year? I mean, everyone thought, that was the narrative for a minute. If Joker does well, then that means that the Snyderverse is gonna have more viability. Bullcrap. They didn't want Joker to come out. It did, and they're still not going to push it in that direction because they don't.
It won an Oscar.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
None of that matters, and the money that it made doesn't actually matter.
And they got money sitting right there.
Yeah,
and they're coming like, we don't even know what to do next. We're thinking that I saw a rumor that said Joaquin Phoenix is thinking about coming back for another Joker, and I'm just like, man, that just stressed me so much.
He actually denied it. He denied it.
It doesn't matter. It's just the fact that it's like, WB should have been ahead of this. It's like, man, the Joker's already to hit. Do a Mr. Freeze movie or something, man. Do a Clayface or something.
A spiritual successor.
Exactly. What is going on?
Give us anthology movies
with a villain.
Anthology movies about villains.
Yeah. And they're doing nothing with it. All I keep hearing is rumors of, are they going to make a Joker sequel? Are they going to bring Joker into the Batman movie?
So stupid.
Are they going to do a Batman movie with Joaquin Phoenix Joker? Even Todd Phillips did talk about, that he would be open to an idea of doing a Batman movie with Joaquin Phoenix Joker. But it's like, what happened to like you said, what happened to the idea of where we're going to be doing a slew of these films that we're going to have, these top-notch directors take, different singular characters and, and do,
it's like they don't understand
level films with them.
They don't understand the essence of why people liked it. I mean, yeah, Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor, but there are also other good actors.
Exactly. There's other good actors, other good directors.
You can put together movies that carry the same sensibilities. Like, oh, like it did well, we'll just throw him as like a cameo in like another crappy Shazam movie or something. Like, oh, Joaquin Phoenix showing up in Shazam 3. Like how did it go from Joker did successful to like this? Like, no, we like to see this kind of thing. So bring us another kind of thing like it. Don't just slap something that, but the thing is, that's the problem. We accept it as CBM fans or whatever the crap we're calling ourselves now. We accept this too much. Whatever it comes out, we just get hyped. Oh my God, like what does this mean? Hey, if the narrative next from DC fans on Twitter or whatever is gonna be like, oh well, hey, if Shazam 3 does well, Joaquin Phoenix, then we'll get a Joker 2. It's like
right.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's just like B-Dub is saying here. It's all about agenda. They have their vision for, which is not a vision because they have no vision. It's just about, at the time, whatever that personal agenda is of the higher ups at the time that the movie is being produced. That's really all it's about. So if it's funny, Millennial Mike, how you brought up the idea of Joaquin Phoenix appearing in Shazam 3, I wouldn't put it past them, because in reality, if they did something like that to try and tie it into like a multiverse or something, something stupid along those narrative lines, it would be like, their mentality would be like, well, we made $1 billion off of the Joker. So if we throw Joaquin Phoenix in there, he's going to get a big pop and it's going to be a massive success.
They always learn the wrong thing.
Right.
Like, listen, if they were to bring back George Clooney Batman, they would bring him back with him and fucking Robin married in the future.
Yep. Guaranteed.
Out of the closet and all that, you feel me? Batgirl's gonna be Batman full time. They're not even gonna be fighting crime anymore. They're gonna be somewhere on in like Tahiti or something, sipping Mai Tais, married. And that's gonna be the cameo.
And they'll call it
George Clooney said himself that Batman and Robin, it was just one big gay joke. Did he not?
Yeah, Alicia Silverstone was like, none of us knew what was going on set. We just kind of showed up. Each day.
So, and I got right with this. They would waste even good films that they had with doing stupid ass multiverse cameos just to get the buck, really. And the reason why there is an agenda and money doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, they're still trying to restart. Walter Hamada still has his hat in the Jeff Johns ring, and he still has his bet on being able to restart and making his mark off the DC films. And the Snyder films are essentially in his way. It doesn't matter how much money they make.
Loyalty. There has to be some kind of basis of loyalty that goes beyond, because you think we're not stupid, and the numbers are available to everybody. So it's not like you don't have some gist of what works and what doesn't as far as finances, just pure finances go. And if there was some kind of singular powerful vision, like if there was a Transformer situation going on, a Fast and Furious situation going on, where the success of each film fluctuated a little bit, but they kept sticking with X-Men went on for so long, and those movies were always just successful enough to keep going, and they kept doing it because they believed what they were doing. They made enough money. They weren't like exploding, but they were making
right, but they
money.
also weren't like super expensive to make either. So
true. I'm talking about,
we didn't see as many Sentinels as I would like.
But it's like with this, it's like they're all over the place, and yet they have so much loyalty to the weirdest people. So what I want to know is, I hope one day that we learn about what the basis for this strange loyalty is within Warner Brothers. And
it's a blood oath. I told you, it's some sort of weird cultish blood oath thing that we'll never know about until it's all completely exposed.
I think so, man.
Hamada fucks with Toby Emmerich. That's what it is. And Jeff Johns was the president of DC Films before Hamada was. I think Hamada was even like co-president of DC Films or something like that. Either way, and at the same time, Jeff Johns is also the quote unquote comic book guy. That's the thing that he's selling throughout Warner Brothers and throughout probably many lots, like, oh, I'm the guy that knows everything about comic books. I know exactly how this stuff is supposed to go. If you listen to me, I can.
Yeah. Look at my Green Lantern hat.
Yeah, you sound just like him too. That's exactly it.
These weird sweaty guys with ball caps.
Yeah, exactly. And so what happened was that when Jeff Johns stepped down, Walter Hamada came up and Toby put him on, and they just low-key kept Jeff Johns around because they're like, all right, we still need to run this DC movie thing and make money off of this. And Jeff Johns probably said, like, well, I can write. I wrote all these comics. I'm a comic book guy.
Yeah, check out Doomsday Clock.
Have you read Blackest Night? You know what I mean?
The best issues of Blackest Night were not
right. Yeah. And you feel me? Toby Emmerich and, Walter Hamada and even Patty Jenkins, all that dumb motherfuckers that they are, they're like, all right, we're not going to waste the time going through the score of other comic book creators that there are, that even other screenwriters that we can possibly have to kind of help us.
It'll be Christina Hodson for pretty much everything going forward.
Yeah, we're just going to trust this guy, pretty much. That's what they said. It's like, we're going to, and he probably has a good deal running with
Bumblebee. She's great,
Yeah, the fact even with Christina, like, honestly, with Christina Hudson, she's sucking somebody off, man. I don't care who's mad, who's disrespected by it. That's what I think. She's a pretty girl and everything.
Well, look at Patty Jenkins. Look at Patty Jenkins, man. She failed upward. She's doing a Star Wars movie next.
Exactly.
So what is?
Man. Christina Hudson is getting bent over a desk somewhere in Warner Brothers offices, bro. I don't care who's mad about it. Someone's blowing her back out at the WB lot.
She's the only one who stayed after they quote retconned all the original directors for the original films of the original slate coming out.
Yep, exactly. That's why just like 44 said, there was a desk somewhere that was defiled for real.
Dang, man. And Patty Jenkins, I'm just gonna hold back on her because she got kids and all that, and but bro, it's Hollywood, man. I'm just saying, man. That's the only way I can explain it. Like, when I was coming up, when the person wrote a garbage movie, you would not see their name again for a minute. Facts.
Look at M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. Look at how long it took him to come back with something else.
It's funny because Patty Jenkins, that interview that she did or whatever recently, where she basically said, and there might have been some truth to this. She basically said something like, "Oh, I was just the beard or whatever. I was the woman there just to, basically in name only, right? In the first one." So she's basically acting as if, and you know what? Honestly, if I'm being really honest, that might have been truth because most of us liked the original Wonder Woman because of the influence that Snyder had. I mean, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm just saying.
No, I've been saying that too.
No, it's the truth.
Right. It's the truth. So, but then, of course, the fact that Patty Jenkins, quote unquote, directed it, which she did, is what got the clout with the journalists and all those types. So, they kind of got to have their cake and eat it too, right? But then when she actually got to make the movie that she wanted to, right? Now she's like,
"Hey, dude."
Right. And it makes sense. And she said, yeah, the first one, I wasn't really a part of it as much as I wanted to. I was just, I was just the woman director there. I'm like, you know what? You're probably right, Patty. You're probably right.
And not even to agree with her, because I ain't gonna play out my man Snyder like that. You feel what I mean? Not even to agree with her, but you gotta look at it like this. These films were in production, you feel me, at least pre-production for a minute. When Patty Jenkins even came on, she was in talks for a minute, just like other directors were, to direct the film. But
the course was already set before they
exactly, the course was already set. Yes. So you gotta read between the lines of certain things. Like a lot of things that Patty Jenkins said, you gotta peep how it really shows how egotistical she kind of is.
Yeah, because she has a huge ego. It's so clear.
Came into a movie. She came into the movie that was already in motion. They already had an idea of what they're planning to do, and not to say they're going to ignore her points, but then she came in expecting, oh yeah, I'm going to get carte blanche or something. They're going to listen to all my ideas and let me do my thing. And not to say that they're going to ignore her, but it's like, my girl, didn't direct anything since Monster. She hadn't directed anything for 10 years.
That's right.
At least a major feature film.
I can say this for Patty. She got what she wanted. She fired Zack Snyder's stunt team for Wonder Woman 84, and look at how that movie turned out. The action sequences are horrible.
Horrible.
I mean, I like Circus Soleil in Vegas, just not in my DC films.
Because she's big-headed. That's why. That's really what it is.
Well, she sat there and sucked in all of the clout that came with the the woman director. Oh my God, Wonder Woman is like the movie that we needed at the time. Blah 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 blah. When it was really actually Snyder and her name attached to it, basically, right? And then she denounces that when the new movie comes out. So it's like she's super dishonest, and it's clear that she's just there for the attention and the clout that it gets, because she accepted it. Like if she was so integral, this is my, I care about my work and my products and my ideas and my vision. If she was so bullish on that, then she would have came out despite what people were saying about her. But of course there was a narrative going. I mean, if she blew that narrative up at the time, then, this big culture icon headed by the first woman director on a big comic, blah, 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 then it would have been nightmarish for her image, and she would have been kicked out and replaced by some other random stand-in woman director, Well,
Millennial Mike, Wonder Woman 84 proves...
I disagree with that, actually.
Wonder Woman 84 proves that Patty Jenkins had no vision. Because Wonder Woman 84 was her movie. Like the 2017 Wonder Woman was like so good. By comparison, it's like Wonder Woman 84 makes the original Wonder Woman movie look like Man of Steel. That's how different.
This is the perfect comparison. It is Mortal Kombat to Mortal Kombat Annihilation and how far the quality drops.
There you go.
It is that big of a dip as far as the original two was fucking.
I'm so happy I didn't watch that movie out of principle. I mean,
no, don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I wasn't even thinking about it. I slept so good.
No, you honestly, Mike, you should just check it out just for film history. Just based off the merit of film history, you should just watch that garbage ass movie just so you have in your mind.
Many other garbage movies.
This one is specific, bro.
This one's very special.
This one's very special. You'll
get those Wonder Woman 84 vibes. You will. You'll be like,
you'll literally take out a pen and pad and literally write down like how much they fucked everything up from the it's like, damn, I could not imagine somebody could ruin something that was so good like to this magnitude. Like they're going to be doing studies on this shit. That's how bad it was. And it really is Patty Jenkins' fault at the end of the day, because she got and not even to disagree with everything Mike said in the beginning either. But I don't think it comes down to like, oh yeah, they would have just tossed her out if she didn't just go with the flow too. I think that they just happened to pick a big-headed director. Like at the end of the day, Zack Snyder's not perfect, man. And we know WB isn't perfect. You feel me? They probably saw in Patty Jenkins like, yo, she hasn't been on in a minute. Her last movie was Monster. It brought in an Oscar and everything. She's a female director. They was probably vetting a few female directors, and they was gonna pick one.
She probably changed as a person since she made Monster. Like the person who made Monster is probably a different director than the person she is now. Obviously,
but it doesn't really matter though. That's just what they put into play. And when they picked her, she just turned out to be some big-headed, you feel me, egotistical person that was more about taking the praise. Like, perfect example is this. Any person, especially a person that's, coming off a film like that, getting back into the industry, getting a success, as they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. She was so big-headed that she thought that, like, oh, yeah, this is a success. I can totally fix this and make it even better.
Do that. Yeah.
Like,
oh, my God.
Like, even when the first Wonder Woman came out, Patty Jenkins was low-key taking shots at her own movie, saying how this could have been better, how that didn't. I didn't like this idea, and I had even
right. She was trying to differentiate herself.
And they didn't let me do it exactly. But she was doing it in a very vague way. But by doing it, the only way that she could do that was by talking about the movie that she worked on, which was the only one, which is Wonder Woman. But the way she made it seem, it's like, oh yeah, if they would have just let me just run everything, I could have made it even better. You think this movie was awesome now? You don't even know. You feel what I mean? If Zack Snyder and WB was involved, like, bro, this shit would have been like Lord of the Rings. And everybody's getting gassed up. They give her creative control on this sequel.
She clearly resents Snyder. I don't
care
what anyone says. I don't care
100%.
what any bullcrap person with a Twitter account.
I've been saying this for years, and people have been giving me crap for it.
Dig at Snyder, she does.
Yep.
A brief moment.
Every time. She never says anything positive, and when there's an opportunity to say something negative or to say something negative about something that he did or an idea that he brought into play or anything, I mean, even
the only time she was positive, about him, like, she was positive was
about Gal, but once I started to work with her, she was good. Like, she wouldn't have even picked Gal if Zach didn't do it.
Correct.
But yeah,
no, the only time she's ever said anything good about Zack Snyder was at Fandome when she introduced him, and that was only like PR.
Oh yeah,
and we know that Gal Gadot wasn't her pick for Wonder Woman because she argued with the studio because she had somebody else in mind for that role. Mm-hmm. So my thing is, if she really got her way for her vision for Wonder Woman 84, and with all the the fact that Wonder Woman 84 barely has any connective tissue to anything anyway, she could have just recasted Wonder Woman because it was a completely different thing anyway.
I would have enjoyed it that way, honestly.
I mean, might as well have done a completely different thing.
On that
I wouldn't have, because listen, Zack Snyder set WB up and DC up. I'm gonna break it down like this. Zack Snyder future-proofed the DC universe and WB for them. He future-proofed the whole Justice League without even going, as they call, you feel what I mean, woke or SJW. Patty Jenkins wanted Wonder Woman to be an all-American Midwestern anti-white girl bitch. She said that shit herself. She even said it. She said that she did not want Wonder Woman to be no foreign, dusky skin type of, you feel what I mean? Yep. Like, let's be G. Like Gal Gadot, she's a white chick. They're like, she's Israeli and everything. She's Jewish, but the way we perceive her, she's from the Caucasian race. You feel what I mean? So it don't really matter. But she's still a foreign woman though. She's a foreign woman with a little bit more elegant. Exactly. Like Patty Jenkins wanted some all-American, like I said, like Linda Carter type of Wonder Woman girl. You feel what I mean? That. And honestly, would not have lasted the test of time. It just wouldn't have. She's just going off her perspective of what Wonder Woman is. You feel me? But Zack Snyder, he looked at it from a bigger picture. Like, all right, we really got to bring it to the big screen. How would Wonder Woman really be? Like, let's make her a woman that's actually like based like a real ancient Greek woman. Why would she be some fucking pale Midwestern white woman? You feel me? That has an American accent and everything. Like, doesn't even, if you think about it, if it's a cartoon, you could ignore that.
Does Linda Carter have a daughter? Because maybe she wanted Linda Carter's daughter or something.
That's what she did in Wonder Woman 84. All she did was turn Gal Gadot into that all-American, extra white girl version of Wonder Woman that she perceives. They even had her fighting crime in a fucking mall,
like Spider-Man.
Like, what?
But wipe out the security cameras so nobody will remember the movie.
Remember it. Attached to a little VCR in the corner that's constantly recording. So, okay.
It doesn't. And that's one of footage. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it just didn't work, the movie, because you're right. Maybe if they recasted it, it could have worked, but it wouldn't have worked in the long run because that concept of Wonder Woman is old and played out. Like, like I guarantee you that people would have low-key started coming at Wonder Woman for appropriation. Because they would have been like, honestly, man, I don't believe that this fucking goofy-looking white girl that looks like she's from Vermont is some Greek goddess and everything. She's running around with all this, what the fuck? This shit is goofy. You feel me? Like, Gal Gadot, the casting of Gal Gadot saves that and gets rid of that whole issue. You feel what I mean? Forever. You feel me? Like, same thing with Aquaman. You can love the blonde hair, blue-eyed Aquaman all you want. But when motherfuckers start cracking on that nigga for being an Aryan looking motherfucker, don't get mad. Don't get mad. This is just BG. Because when people start bringing up, like, all right, this all connects to back how y'all was talking all that, the Aryan race used to live under the water and Atlantis fell, and then y'all just made it into a comic book. Zack Snyder got rid of all that shit just by making Aquaman an Islander dude. You know what I mean? That's it. It's over. Now you don't even got to worry about them issues. These issues were the reason why Hal Jordan had to take a back seat, because some of these characters were too cornball. They was too white bread. And that's why back in the day, people used to clown Hal Jordan to death, to the point where they put Hal Jordan on the fucking bench, because he was just one too many white guys that didn't have enough personality. They couldn't really figure out what to do with him. They're like, all right, man, let's just retire him for a little bit. Now that they got a better idea of what to do with Hal Jordan, they done brought him back. But say they didn't put him on the bench for that, because people was clowning him.
Also, Zack Snyder is the only one who could have done that, because he's able to do things like that without making it into an SJW thing. You know
exactly. I'm just bringing up past criticisms of things that people would have brought up and have brought up in the past. Even when you go to the Hawkman and Hawkgirl thing, you feel me? DC even had to clean that up, because after a while, people weren't just gonna be accepting like, oh yeah, these two aliens fell to Africa and these motherfuckers praised them as gods and everything. It's like, all right, how about we do this? We'll just make a whole planet of Thanagarians. Okay, that's cool. Like, you know, that's the stuff that Zack Snyder does. You feel what I mean? He doesn't just, as you say, SJW it up. He just takes it in a different route to clean it up, to make it more broad. You didn't have to make Wonder Woman some SJW feminist woman. He just make her, all right, we're just going to make her a Greek goddess.
Yeah,
that's it.
By default, without trying, it's like
we're not gonna make Aquaman some black dude or Aquaman some Chinese dude. We're just gonna make Aquaman some Samoan Hawaiian Islander dude.
Well, yeah, because
and we're just gonna write off that, because that makes sense.
Context, yeah.
Like, you know,
diversity, you get your themes there, and then carry the story. Let the character be going on a discovery that's something we can learn and root for, and the themes are there without putting that in the forefront and losing character development.
Right.
Yeah. Look how they're clowning Wonder Woman 84, man. And what are they clowning about it? They're clowning all that cornball, extra white bread stuff about all that stuff that they're trying to pull out from the past and bring it into the future. That's the stuff that people don't like. People love the first Wonder Woman because it was modern. You feel what I mean? They're like, oh yeah, I can get behind this. I thought that y'all were gonna bring back the whole spinning in a circle Wonder Woman. Like, you're like, once people saw the new one,
I was waiting for that scene. I was waiting for that scene when they were in the apartment. I was waiting for her to spin like Linda Carter.
Didn't she spin though, or no? She didn't. I watched the trailer and she like span in like a barrel roll kind of. Well, like
everyone barrel rolled in that. I barrel rolled to the floor.
Do a barrel roll, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's in front of you. Go at her and do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll.
She's right in front of you. It's time to barrel roll. Wait, what? Yeah, because when you barrel roll, it propels you forward. So when you kick him, it'll be great. But the feet are in the back. Do a barrel roll. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's funny. Oh man. Hey, that's the circus for you, you know. Except they actually use real barrels.
Circus Olay 84. That's what it should have been called.
Circus Olay 84. Yeah, good. It was a clown show for real. Like,
Wonder Woman in the Wish Stone.
Like, it's a joke. Like, you seen how they did Superman in Justice League. You know, man, truth is like your car keys, or hope is like your car keys. They're like, what? Who talks like that?
It would actually be really great if they took
Joss Whedon.
Yeah. It'd be great if they took all these crappy DCJU movies and they actually made fun of all the characters. They put Shazam in there, they put 84 version of Wonder Woman in there, and then they brought the actual real versions of Wonder, and they just had them like the real versions kill their DCJU counterparts.
And a 30-second TV spot. Like, it'll all be done.
That would be fun.
Yeah, Wonder Woman's Wonder Woman cuts 84 DCJU version head off, just like decapitates her.
Yeah, it's impossible to believe that Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84 is the same Wonder Woman from the first movie.
Doomsday.
It's so impossible to believe. Like, are you serious?
There's been a split.
Smiled and fought Doomsday while smiling about it.
We got Justice League universe, we got the Snyder Cut universe, because I still remember when like Bruce Wayne in Justice League scene, he's all talking to Wonder Woman. He's like, "Did Steve Trevor tell you that?" And then she punched him, right? That whole scene and energy reminds me of like what Wonder Woman 84 was like when I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I say remind because I'm trying to put that farther in the past in me, but it feels like that scene, which was rewritten and reshot, Jeff Johnson, all that, that carried over into Wonder Woman 84. So if you watch Wonder Woman 84 and
it'll feel
ignore
similar.
everything, and your next follow up to Wonder Woman 84 is Justice League, it kind of fits in that whack verse because it's all that whackness, and it ties to that. I feel like they were trying to.
Yes, it's the DCW, the whack verse.
Also, everyone's talking about like, watch how quick people flip. They're like, oh, apparently these Marvel fans, because they always blame everything on Marvel fans. And Marvel fans, like, they're just enjoying their movies. Like,
let them enjoy the movies,
right? But you know, there's a lot of people who choose to remain ignorant amongst the DCU fandom, which we are well aware of. Will pretend that. They apparently don't know what Flashpoint is because Flashpoint's going to be dark. Like, no, it's not this one. Like, you think they're going to do all of what they've done so far? 84, Shazam, Birds of Prey, you know, all the whole Justice League DCJU, right? And then they're going to make like a legitimate, serious Flashpoint movie. Like, no, they're definitely not. I mean, with Keaton in it, I mean, like, no, like, this is going to be a nostalgia bait, bullcrap, Deus Ex Machina kind of movie is all it's going to be. It's going to just throw it at the wall just to get it over with, you know?
It's going to be their CW on screen.
Big time.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's like the best way to describe it. It's going to be chock full of like cameos and nonsense. You're going to have, characters that we haven't seen for, decades and decades pop up in it.
So when it's not serious though, I can already, and unfortunately I won't have to see it, but there's gonna be some people reneging saying, because before it was, this is gonna be so dark, these Marvel MCU fans don't know what they're in for, and when it's not, when it's gonna be another DCJU movie, we're gonna have all these DC fans reneging.
What movie are you talking about?
Flashpoint, this crappy new Jeff Johnson that everyone seems to be excited about.
That's not gonna be dark. Remember, then they would say people still say Shazam was dark. Get out of here! Man.
Oh yeah, Shazam was one of the darkest movies in the franchise.
You gotta realize that half the time
the trench and the sins or whatever. Like
people be saying this like fucking 10 years old on the internet, bro. Like we be lying to ourselves thinking that like, oh yeah, I'm talking to some dude that's like the same age as me or something.
No.
Like no. And then you realize that this nigga is like 7.
Oh my God. No. Yeah, I don't talk to people.
It's like, it's like, man, that's really what it is, man. Like that, I don't. And yeah, there's probably going to be some people that's going to think
I don't know, man. There's a lot of stupid adults out there, dude. Don't give. You gotta give 7-year-olds a little more credit than that, because there's some smart 7-year-olds out there, bro.
Well, there's a lot of. Well, see, this is the thing, right? There's a lot of young people who aren't very confident online. And there's a lot of adults that are very like bullish about their nostalgic, arrested adolescence ideas. So it's like, some kids are pretty trollish and whatnot, and I guess they know how to use social media, but there's a lot of adults who have buying power and they're stupid. So that's where our biggest issue is, I think.
No, we got some stupid adults too that didn't grow up. It's like, man, chill up, grow up, pay your bills, pay your child support, and shut the fuck up and just read a comic book, man. Yeah. Shit. Your kid needs ballet lessons.
Watch Justice League Unlimited,
Yeah, the guy's 40. He's telling us the guy's 40 and he's telling us that Zack Snyder doesn't understand Superman. Okay, all right, dude.
The guy's 40 and he's even saying that, he's even using an argument that like, someone doesn't understand Superman. Like that's even a valid argument. Like at the end of the day, Superman is still like, just a character, fictional character. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like saying like, oh man, you don't even
it's open for interpretation, idiot.
Out of all the things that have been done to Superman, the one thing you're not supposed to do, that's what Zack Snyder did, and that's why he doesn't understand it. Because Superman can be anything you want him to be when he needs to be, except for that.
You know what, really? A lot of people are addicted to their own stereotypical propaganda of these characters. They're fictional. People go crazy when their lie, their illusion, their perfect picture of whatever or stereotype of whatever is challenged, like when they have to think.
Well, it's more of an issue.
There's movies of like historic characters, and then there's some changes to the story and some fabrications. No one says shit. We accept all those movies forever, you know? Even the Bruce Lee film. They did some changes, and it was approved by, Linda Lee Cadwell. And then even with the Bohemian Rhapsody or whatever, there's some stuff they left out, but the band were like, yeah, we're okay with it. Put it out.
Stuff they left out there and everything.
And people gobble it up, but with these fictional characters, people go crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's even
propaganda
more ridiculous when... like, okay, so I understand like gatekeeping and a certain amount of protectiveness over IPs and ideas and things like that. I get the feelings and emotions behind it, but it's even more ridiculous with characters that have gotten more iterations than any other character in the face of the planet. It's like if any character is going to get changed again, it's going to be Superman. Like, I get if Luke Skywalker gets disrespected, like, okay, that hurts, that stinks. I get it. Yeah. I get your anger, but Superman is like there are like 10 other versions currently going on right now, and in another 10 years.
Even bringing up the Luke Skywalker thing as the perfect example too, like I totally get the anger of that too, completely, because it's almost like changing Goku. There's only one Luke Skywalker, like there's only one kind of like the only one Goku or whatever. Yeah. But
comic books is
but this is a big but. The fact that even Star Wars is in the place that there are now is that Star Wars fans, like Star Wars is younger than DC, and they're gonna have to grow like DC fans is, and they may have to even accept the future where there might be a new Luke Skywalker, a new timeline where they do this shit all over again. Because Star Wars is one of the biggest franchises in the world, but it's also still relatively young, even based on other films and other IPs that we all grew up with and loved. You know what I mean? That they've redid 100 million times over by now.
Well, you know what I mean? The difference is that Star Wars started as a movie.
Yeah.
And the same as comic continued.
I get what you're saying, but it's still the same in the sense of the iconic level of these characters. And it's like before, back in the day when Superman first came out, there was only one Superman, and then they did the first Superman run. And they kept it going for a while, and then after a while, they realized, we can't keep all these stories keep going forever. I guess we'll just restart Superman again. Right. Like, I bet back then when people found out that they were going to reboot Superman, that they in the AC Comics or whatever, they were salty as fuck. They're like,
even back then you had you had the comic book, you did have the old cartoon, you had the radio.
But it was all based off the same stuff, though. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about it. The whole point is that eventually there always is going to be a point where, like, Mark Hamill going to die one day. All these motherfuckers is going to die one day. You can sit here and think that, forever this shit is going to be set in stone. But just like today, there is only one Luke Skywalker, and that shit should be upheld. But eventually, there may be two Luke Skywalkers.
Right.
And you're just gonna have to accept that. You know what I mean? Like eventually, then one day there may even be 3 different Luke Skywalkers. Mm-hmm. And at that point, you're just gonna have to be like,
but see, now we have that photorealistic technology and all that stuff where they're gonna be able to resurrect dead actors. So theoretically,
if they did that, is that really Mark Hamill, or is that fucking some nigga that they cloned onto an engram like they did in Cyberpunk? That's not really Mark Hamill. That's a computer program.
Right. That's a computer program. That's computer Mark Hamill.
That's what I mean. You can sit here and hold on to the one Luke Skywalker all you want, but if they even do that, they're still making another Luke Skywalker.
I'm actually surprised they haven't done that. They haven't done that with Christopher Reeve with all these crybabies. Why not just bring back Christopher Reeve at this point? Like,
Exactly. That's the whole thing. Like, at what point are we, like you just said, with Arrested Development? At what point were people going to accept that? Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, we're gonna have to move past some of this shit after a while. Like, or do you want them to fucking pull Chris Reeves out of his fucking grave and make a computer?
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna do a computer. I would
like, do you want it to go this far?
If he don't show up in this Flashpoint movie, they're gonna have Christopher Reeve in there somehow.
Like, you already seen, they already got half CGI Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian. They're already one step away from Luke Skywalker being a straight CGI character.
Yo, question.
In the live action. You're already there.
I was George Lucas, but now he sold it off. Who owns Mark Hamill's face?
So even if the motherfucker do look like Mark Hamill, are you still gonna consider him Mark Hamill? Are you gonna accept that? Nah, that's the second Luke. They got
a computer that can not only imitate his likeness but his voice and everything, so he'll live forever.
I'm not trying to say that I don't support Luke Skywalker being
really
replaced.
That's really macabre.
Yeah, like I'm just playing the devil's advocate right now. Sure. I'm not trying to support Luke Skywalker.
Right, nobody's trying to support that, but you guys did hear about that movie where they're resurrecting James Dean, where they actually cast him.
Yeah, I heard about
in a
that.
Role, and he's going to be a fully CGI character. But they got it to the point where they're happy with how he looks photorealistically, so they'll be able to use him for the film. And if that's not a sign of where things are headed, I don't know, man. I mean, that's pretty rough. I would. That's why I said I wouldn't put it past them to resurrect Christopher Reeve, because all these crybabies, not my Superman, not my Batman. Right. They're just gonna keep resurrecting.
All these crybabies aren't gonna be alive long enough for like a real good Christopher Reeve movie, like to even come out anyway, or by good I mean like a realistic,
have the technology to do it,
right? Like by the time they do have technology to actually do it, and for like all the stuff they're trying to do now to be over, like by the time they're ready for that, all the crybabies are going to be dead, or they're going to be too senile to even know what's going on.
Everybody will be excited for the live action Naruto thing, and it'll be totally different. No one even know about these guys.
If you're 20 years old whining about Christopher Reeve, there's something wrong with you. Like, you.
Here's the thing. Christopher Reeve did a great job. Those movies are beautiful for what they are. Questionable about 4 or 3, blah blah. But if they're not unwatchable. If you miss it, you could rewatch it. That's what I do, and then just embrace the other.
No, they're good. They're good movies. They're not bad. It's just that all these people that are just want to live in the past, and the people that want to go to the past with them is like, nah, man.
That's why I think WB. That's what they should do at this point. They should just do it, and this way these crybabies will have their movie too. They'll be like, okay, now you have Christopher Reeve. Now shut up and let the rest of us, move on.
Here's why I'm pissed. Because, like I said, eventually, even when it comes down to James Bond, eventually they're always gonna move past it. You can lie about it all you want, even if they make a CGI Luke Skywalker. That's still not Mark Hamill. That would still be a new Luke Skywalker. So it doesn't matter how you try to look at it. It's always going to be the
franchise has always been so great because like his iconography is greater than the character, I think, because it's like he's just a 00, and they've always made that very clear. Is that he's a part. He kind of represents like an agent of a larger organization, and he's a cool one that everyone likes, and he has a very basic name, James Bond. It's easy to remember, but like anyone can be James Bond, and just like it's kind of an easy situation where it's not like it's not like this very deeply like religious iconography that goes on with Star Wars that has it just like beginning, middle, and end. There's no deviation. There's no. It's
very heavily based on the hero's journey. It's a slave to the hero's journey all the way to the end. Every time.
You do have some like friggin' Sean Connery hardcore fans, but that's about it. And they're not even that hard.
Oh yeah, well, how long before we get a CGI Sean Connery James Bond resurrection? I mean, I would think we would get that sometime soon too, because if they
I think be a rule that you have to be dead for a certain period of time before someone can make money off your likeness.
Or does it just matter? I think it just matters if the kind of deal you make with the estate, right? I mean, You got to make, it's based off of that if you can use the likeness. But I kind of feel like Mark Hamill, he probably signed his likeness over for eternity. He probably was like, "Go ahead, keep using me."
Already.
That's why you see movies with him in like the Diver. He has a mustache,
and that's why I brought up. That's why I brought up that point specifically, because it's like, man, like they try to put, we get clouded in all this DC stuff and make it seem like I said, even with Goku, there's only one Goku, but even when it came to Dragon Ball Z, there was a time when they were going to replace Goku with Gohan. And what happened? All the fans went crazy, and they kept Goku around. So
at least it's an animation. You can't actually pull that off.
So yeah, but what I'm saying is there's this thing where people just don't want to fucking let go, but there's always this point where you're gonna have to accept that you're gonna have to move past this after a while. Even when it comes to Dragon Ball Z, you can keep fucking sucking off Goku all you want, but there's other characters there. Vegeta's standing right next to him. They were even about to replace Goku at a certain point. If they were this close.
Well,
even when it comes to Star Wars, they're gonna keep Mark Hamill as long as they can, so they can keep the one Luke Skywalker. But eventually, he's gonna become a fucking computer program. So all these people that are crying about, oh, I want my Superman and my Batman and my this and my that, shut the fuck up about it already. Because we're even getting to the point now where they have to replace characters with computer programs. You feel what I mean? There's even been points where they've nerfed the legacy characters to keep the original character around and top notch. Like Gohan was a fan favorite character, and when people heard that they were gonna replace Gohan with Goku, they said fuck Gohan. Like, Gohan's not cool anymore. You feel me? So it doesn't like after a while you're gonna have to just accept it is what it is when it comes to some of this stuff. You can't hold on to it like it's like a baby. Like
God doesn't hold on to Dragon Ball Z. He let it go quick.
I sure did.
I'm just using it as an example. Now, even if you talk about Super, a lot of the storylines in Dragon Ball Z Super are about, you feel me, the characters like Vegeta and Goku and other characters realizing their potential that they didn't realize in the past series, filling up plot holes, giving characters more relevance. Get off fucking Goku's dick. He's not the fucking only dude on the show. You feel what I mean? That's kind of what the whole damn Super is about. Kind of fixing the things that
when they'll get me back in when they finally kill off Goku. Kill off, dude, and continue and move on.
Say it, man. Yeah, just BG. It's like, just fucking kill the dude off already. But I'm using that as an example that people are gonna hold on to that shit for so long until they eventually realize, like, nigga, even one day you're gonna have to let go of Goku too.
Yeah.
All these characters are gonna be replaced.
But how about Sherlock Holmes though? You see, Sherlock Holmes.
How many Sherlock Holmes movies has there been? There's been Benedict Cumberbatch and RDJ played Sherlock Holmes.
Right, Cavill played him too, didn't he?
Well, there's a lot of spin-off TV shows.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's cartoons. There's riffs. There's like Holmes Watson. There's a bunch of different kinds of spin-offs, and
there's this other spin-off of Sherlock Holmes called The Batman. It's pretty neat.
This nigga Kojay is funny.
I want to switch it up real quick. Let me switch it up.
They're gonna give Batman a magnifying glass. Oh, he's a detective.
Just one on his mask.
They're gonna put Alfred in the suit. I mean, for real.
No, Alfred comes in a huge mech suit, and it's gonna be a Batman. It's gonna have missiles and shit and a shotgun because he knows how to use that.
Didn't that already happen in an animated episode at some point?
In comics.
Yo, El Capi, he's been here for a while. He said some good stuff. He says they should have let Snyder do his 5-part arc, then spin off to solo movies. And I like that because we're talking about like Dragon Ball Z, for example, just making it go on long and forever and not doing any kind of whatever. It's just monotonous. And then Snyder had this 5-part arc to tell a story, and then boom, it's open for other people to expand and do whatever. And it's like so simple. I feel like when people call it a cul-de-sac, it tells me they are not seeing the big picture, because the big picture was designed to have free artistic creative integrity, whatever, do 184 whatever afterwards, and it would make sense. And the fact that they just kind of call it a cul-de-sac tells me that they don't see the point of this whole story, all his hard work and effort, which was not a cul-de-sac, tells me that they have probably some clearly other agenda of where it's going. Because if it's so free to create a story that's a sandbox, and they're already playing in the sandbox, to have this established world for them to play around, it's like they're doing it and then they are not. And then they're just trying to, the only way they can't see it as an open play box, which it is, and they see it as a dead end, is because they want to take it somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is I heard actually you talking about this in the last episode, 44, but you're basically saying how Warner Brothers, they don't really want anything. They don't actually have any plans. They're not thinking about it that deeply. They don't really care that much.
Just their Christmas bonus.
And
right.
The thing about that is, I do agree with it. I think that like their ideas or agendas or whatever aren't like this like deeply rooted, long-standing, thing. Like they just come up on the fly. So like, yeah, they want to do, right. Like they want to do things. They do have agendas. They do want to push things in certain directions, but it's not like, okay, we need to get back on course. It's like, no, like the course changes all the time. It's just always different than what it actually is, what it actually was. So, and we can easily see that because, when Patty Jenkins, did her thing with 84, I mean, that was clearly her decision, she chose Jeff Johns to be on the project. Right. And that's the movie that she clearly wanted to make. So, and she came in after the project was started,
And she got studio pushback too over the sequel. They knew that shit was some booty. WB ain't that stupid. That's the whole thing. WB ain't that stupid. They just don't care. You feel what I mean? They like if it were up for them, they would just make every movie like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. If they felt like, oh yeah, it would just make them $1 billion.
Except for Superman.
They really, except for Superman, but they did it with Superman, with Man of Steel, but they really just don't know. They don't know. They saw that shit and they're like, Patty, man, what is this? This is like some 70s movie shit. And she's like, oh no, guys, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Look at the first Wonder Woman. And Patty Jenkins really wrote off Zack Snyder's success of the first Wonder Woman. She wrote that shit to the bank and she wrote that shit back to Warner Brothers and said, look, you feel what I mean? Give me all the creative control. But in reality, she took all that credit, and none of that credit went to all the other people that worked on that film. Yeah. You know what I mean? And WB was just too stupid to realize at the time. And when she was making this film, they realized she was making some bullshit. They did. You feel me? And they did their thing to try to stop her. But at that point, what were they gonna do?
Well, they could have treated her like they did Zach and like just pretend like it didn't exist and did everything they could to trip her up along the way. But no, they pushed it hard. They promoted it so much. They put it out early for their select, their fan favorite journalists that they could get, good ratings in the beginning. They did the whole red carpet rollout for the movie. And
hell yeah, they did. Of course they were going to do that because they weren't going to play out Patty Jenkins. They're just not like WB is on this is how you know WB is on a downturn. Is even the fact that they were even trying to hold up Patty Jenkins like she was some director to be gassed. That's like the same. It's like the same thing. Fucking they be doing with Ava DuVernay. You feel what I mean? And fucking John.
Oh yeah, her movie ain't never gonna come out. That New Gods, like, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's like, bro. But Patty Jenkins is even worse because they was coming for a minute like this bitch was like Christopher Nolan or something. Mm-hmm, and I'm like, when people are actually feeding into it. People are actually like, yo, let her run the DCEU. Like, oh man, she's so good.
Yeah, give her Justice League.
They were sniffing their own farts. Let's be honest.
It's so funny how quickly how easy it is to make people think like, oh yeah, this person should run everything, or it's like
exactly all it takes is a little bit of clout, and they run it straight to the bank, and they gassing it up for years.
Yeah,
years.
Yeah. it's so funny because and we know Avery DuVernay things not going to happen. 101.3 is probably not going to happen. Because like they were saying,
it's not even about what new gods even happening. It's about the fact that how they be gashing her. How they be gashing these directors, not even like James
actually signed like a 5-year deal with her.
Yeah, it's like why?
Like her
she's
particularly.
whack.
Yeah, like why Avery DuVernay particularly? Like there's so many directors out there. Like why a 5-year deal? Yeah.
And what has she done? What has she done with that deal?
Nothing, because she's whack. Like that's what I'm saying, man. It's like WB
TV shows.
WB is lost. Like WB used to gas up, have directors that they had on their lot. They used to gas up. They used to be beasts. That's why they even still, they got Dennis Villeneuve, and you feel me. They got Nolan. Well, Nolan's still shaky, but that's what the reason why I'm saying it's shaky is because the fact that they even put Patty Jenkins up there with those type of directors, and even be like, yeah, she's one of them. So she's the one. And they even really gassed her like
that shows that she was the next one. Straight.
Exactly.
I want to see a Mel Brooks film instead of Patty Jenkins film.
It's like, what are you talking? Like, what? It just don't even make any sense, man.
Yeah.
It don't. It just don't. I just have to.
We've been brainstorming for years, and there's no conceivable logic. Like, is it money? Is it not money? Is it agenda? Is it clout? Is it politics? Is it personal? Vendetta? Is it
like they make it seem like this woman? They made it seem like this
something
woman
about Patty Jenkins. I don't know.
No, get me wrong. She is thick. She is thick. You know what I mean? But they make it seem like she made The Godfather or something. They make it seem like this woman made Scarface or something, man. Let's be honest. They make it seem like she directed The Princess Bride or something.
No, they're acting like she reinvented Wonder Woman. That's what they're doing.
She reinvented her, but not in a good way. Because
no, it's before Wonder Woman 84. I'm talking about the first Wonder Woman. I feel like they're treating like she discovered Gal Gadot or something.
I feel like Zack Snyder ghost directed the first film. I mean, honestly,
I got that vibe too. But
exactly, that's what I feel too. But I'm not gonna. I don't really want to say that too much because I don't. That's disrespect on Snyder and Patty, because you feel me. That's pretty much saying that Snyder is capping us, and he low key directed the film.
Right.
And would Snyder do that? Like, maybe, I don't know the man like that. I don't know what type of man he really is.
I think he would direct a good film for someone else and then give them the credit. I think he would do that. I mean, look what he's doing now. He gives these other directors who are sharing the same quote unquote space with him all of this credit. And he said, I love the film. Oh, good job.
That's very gracious.
Maybe he believes it, or maybe he doesn't. That's not the point. Like, he'll be positive about anything. He doesn't have a negative bone in his body, and that's a good thing. I mean, I do appreciate that. However, if he really we had to defend this guy because he can't do it himself. He won't do it himself. Like, he won't defend his own work. He won't defend his own ideas. Like, if someone, let's say, made a movie, referenced his film, and then use that to downplay or retcon or change some ideas from his film, as long as it's not in his film, he won't say anything about it. He won't say anything about anything unless it's
you can't. But a lot of filmmakers are like that because honestly, it's film. You can't really be that attached. Like at the end of the day, yeah. Like, cause at the end of the day, you can make one film. You can make one film one day, and then they after that they can hire a totally different motherfucker to do the sequel, and then they can just take everything left field, and then you just gotta sit there and be like, all right, and there's nothing you can really say about it. You feel me? And that happens in films that are not even anywhere near a comic book film,
or even popular sometimes.
Yeah, so I understand why he comes like that, but I'll just pose this question. This is the real question we should really be asking. Like, do y'all feel that Zack Snyder is soft in a Hollywood sense?
Yes.
Cool. We'll let this. Actually, let's have this. We should wrap up soon, but yeah, let's continue. Sorry.
We should wrap up soon, but let's continue.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah, I absolutely do. A matter of fact, I think the reason why he has thrived as much as he has is because he chooses to remain at the fringes of Hollywood as much as possible. You know, I think if he were more in, you know, if he had his more, if he was more in the midst of everything, he would have a lot more. He'd bump a lot heads a lot more people. There'd be a lot more issues than there are now because he doesn't really interact with a lot of people, and he doesn't go to a lot of red carpet things. He doesn't really, you know, post on social media a lot. He doesn't make himself a big presence in the whole Hollywood entertainment, you know, industry. But even still, he has these fierce opposition. I mean, imagine if he actually pushed his weight around more and he was actually in the middle of things. I mean, not even if he pushed his weight around more, but just imagine if he was just in a situation where he'd have to bump heads more. Imagine how much.
Well, I mean, he sure does a good job defending himself against Scott Mendelson. I mean, he spanked that dude how many times already? I mean, there's something going on there.
Scott Mendelson is a journalist, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm saying in the sense of that, like, boom, perfect example is the Wonder Woman thing. You know, to be totally honest, Zack Snyder could have bogarted that whole situation if he wanted to. If he wanted to come out and say, like, yeah, it was my ideas, it was my guiding hand that brought this, that made this a success. You know, he got his wife.
Remember,
he got it. He got his wife. You know, Deborah behind him. She would have backed it. You know, people. You know, he could have done that. You know, I'm not going to say people would have accepted it or, you know, would have took his word for it.
DC fans would have done it because they'll accept anything. You know,
but the fact is he didn't do it.
But yeah, you also got to look at it on the flip side of this. Jeff Johns came out, you know, running his mouth talking about, oh yeah, I'm the reason why Wonder Woman is success, and motherfucker didn't do shit. You feel me? And people took that to the bank and ran with it, and it was complete bullshit.
He was just on that native bagel and left.
It's like, come on, like you're so. I'm not trying to say how anybody should move or, you know, how, because, you know, obviously Zack Snyder got where he's at by moving how he moved. So, but I'm just saying, in certain senses, you know, can you argue that, you know, he could have bogarted a little bit harder and, you know, grab more praise that he was deserved, or that, you know, did he kind of just. You know, just take it as it comes.
There's a lot of auteur directors out there who are very bullish about what they want and what they don't want, and they get a little flack for it, right? You know, like Tarantino gets some flack, and Scorsese gets flack, and Nolan gets flack. I mean, everyone gets flack because they believe in what they believe, and they'll tell you that, hey, this is what I believe, and it's going to happen this way or else, right? Zach is an auteur who is not bullish, and he still gets flack. He gets way more flack. So I'm like, you know what, just Tarantino it a little bit, you know, like, you know, just do it, you know, like, you know, and maybe it's his personality, maybe it's not, maybe it's his business sense that's coming into play. I don't really know why he chooses to do what he does, but I think he can definitely afford. I think he definitely can profit from being a little bit more bullish about his ideas.
Yeah.
Whoa, where did you go? Your voice like went into like a Star Destroyer or something.
I heard that for a second.
Yeah.
Who, me?
Yeah.
It's like you changed microphones or something.
Oh, that's what happened.
Oh, I mean, that's definitely not what happened, but okay.
Oh, there you go.
Is it better? Is it going in and out, or is it?
No, it's fine now.
Yeah.
Okay. But even going to Wonder Woman 84, like, you can say that you can argue that a lot of that was out of his hands. Patty Jenkins could have, I'll have to look at the credits to see how the producer lineup was, but she could have moved him out creatively and everything. But even with that too, it's like, you know, people talk, you know, a lot of this, this is Zack Snyder's Wonder Woman even more so than they do in the whole Zack Snyder Superman. Like they really do, you know, attribute Gal Gadot to Snyder. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And it's like, even with that situation, you know, there's even rumors that say that I even heard rumors that said that, the Snyders had to come in and help Patty Jenkins clean up the film towards the end.
I remember that.
I don't know how true that is, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, is there a way, do you think that he could have bogarted his way into that situation and be like, all right, I'm not about to just let y'all do some garbage shit with the Wonder Woman that I, poke out out the ground? Or was he just a type of guy where it's like, all right, Patty, if you want to do your thing and you feel like you got it, I got you.
That was definitely what he did.
Because for better or worse, Aquaman came out, it did what it did, but it still made $1 billion. And you also got to keep in mind in the sense that people kind of looked at it funny when James Wan said like, oh yeah, I sent, Snyder early cuts and all that and showed him the film to make sure it lined up with his film and all that. And, some people even gave James Wan shit for that because they're like, oh yeah, why didn't he make the film more like the Snyderverse and why didn't he do this? And he could be lying and that could not be true. But he said that out of his own mouth though. Mm-hmm. And at the time, it did seem kind of whatever because in a way we took kind of Aquaman for granted for what it did. Because the only thing that it really did that was good is that it didn't fuck anything up. It didn't do anything that really, stepped on anything that came before it.
It was the movie we would have gotten after but 5-story arc.
If you look at it and compare that to what they did with Wonder Woman 84 is what I'm saying. It kind of does feel now that maybe he wasn't lying. You know what I'm saying? Maybe right. Dead ass though. Maybe James Wan did go to fucking Snyder and say like, all right, I'm not gonna lie. This movie isn't gonna be how it was intended to be when I was fucking with you, but what can I do to make changes so it at least fits in? You feel what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
what you did, right. and in a way it kind of does that. You feel me? But Wonder Woman 84, just a movie that just steps all over everything. Mm-hmm. It just steps all over everything with damn near no fucking regard.
Yeah.
And you can say, like I said, I'm just, that may or may not have anything to do with Zack Snyder. That may not be his fault or anything. Right. You can, who knows if James Wan even went to Zack Snyder and brought him that, or if Zack Snyder came to him, whatever. But we just don't know these things.
But James Wan's movie feels more respectful. That's the thing. The Wonder Woman 84 for me feels careless and disrespectful in that regard.
Well, I mean, the end of the first movie felt mad disrespectful. I mean, ever since the first Wonder Woman, I mean, all the changes that were made on that movie, I mean, even the changes that were made to Suicide Squad feel less disrespectful than what, I mean, like Wonder Woman, the end of Wonder Woman is the most Justice League thing that has happened since Justice League, basically.
What, the third act?
Well, because like Shazam is its own thing, right? So that can be super DCJU, corny garbage, whatever. Birds of Prey is like a spinoff of a spinoff, so it's like you can't really mess it up that much because it's not really that deeply tied into
Birds of Prey is the worst because Birds of Prey is really the film that put the nail in the coffin of the whole suicide that whole Gotham side of the DCEU that Ayer popped off. Let's just be honest.
Well, I'm talking about Snyder's involvement. Like Dave Ayer was paying tribute to Snyder. He was paying tribute with Suicide Squad. Birds of Prey is a spinoff of Suicide Squad. So it's like Birds of Prey really can't undermine Snyder that much.
Yeah, it does. It still does.
I don't know, man. I haven't seen it, but just the spinoff of a spinoff, it just sounds
because it's like got me lost. Just because it's a spinoff doesn't mean that it's not still. It's still playing around in the same sandbox, knocking down the same sandcastles.
Well, what I'm just saying is that, with the whole 1,000-year thing, which is so integral to Wonder Woman's character, who's a member of the Justice League, right? By simply changing that one thing, you basically ruin her character, her motivation. You ruin the depth, the emotion, the pathos of the character. Right, you completely ruin it by doing that, right? The Suicide Squad characters hardly have any interaction with the Justice League and the large overarching story of Superman and how he brought the world together and brought hope back to the world, and how the world brought hope back to him, and Batman and that's what the Justice League story is about, right? So the Suicide Squad is basically kind of like a intermediary that shows what a world without Superman is kind of like. It's this, and then you have another spinoff of that. So the deep threads of the universe can't be like you could have a crap Birds of Prey movie and you just forget about it. But if you have a Wonder Woman movie where she doesn't leave for 1,000 years, and she, and you had that crappy Jeff Johns ending, well, that immediately impacts everything, like in a really heavy way. So that's what I mean. I'm not saying that Birds of Prey can't be a disgrace to the DCEU, but it's not like integral.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a disgrace.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, so I mean I don't know, and I will never know. But
it's a mess right now. I think I have an idea. It's a good time to end, but I think we'll end with like I guess what y'all think one at a time of the mess we're in. I mean, I'm curious, like, what do we do about it?
Well, we can't do anything about it.
What is there to do? Stop giving them money.
Yeah, but that won't happen. I mean, I won't, and I haven't been giving them money for years, but that's just not going to happen on a large enough scale.
Is that how you grow those ears?
Huh?
You got Mickey Mouse ears, man.
That was always the joke, though. I think that was the joke.
I just think it's funny.
Yeah. I mean, look at my face. I'm really happy to be here, as you can see.
Zod, man, what your final thoughts, man? How you doing, brother?
I think I think we're in a situation right now where we should just let Warner Brothers do what they do, and if they keep screwing up, we cancel HBO Max. That's it.
Yeah, I canceled HBO Max a long time ago. I mean, I figured this. Okay, so if HBO Max, if the subscribers during the time the Snyder Cut's out, it's going to push them towards the direction I want them to go or not. If I actually believe that, then I would also believe, and by the same note, that me having HBO Max during the Wonder Woman 84 period of time would also push them in that direction. So a month before 84 came out, I'm like, yeah, I'm canceling HBO Max. Like, I'm not gonna I'm not even using it that much. And if anything, I'm going to at least cancel during the month of 84, just to show what I want. I'm going to show Warner Brothers what I want. I'm also going to show them what I do not want. And they both need to happen. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anything else?
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you. Hey, yo, guys, thanks for being our first guest on our first live show.
This is awesome. This is awesome, guys. Definitely. Wow.
Yeah. Thank you. And I also want to thank everyone who came to watch and everyone who's watching the replay as well. Just keep doing the thing. Wake the fuck up, Warner Brothers. That's what I got to say. I'll let y'all have it. We'll let y'all have it. 44, what's up?
I said fuck Warner Brothers, man. Fuck wake up. Just go tell them to go fuck themselves, really.
We're tired of you.
Right. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, release air.
Peace.
Yeah. And release